French police have given us time to talk, but they won't be put off for long. We'll have to give you back.
This is France, and they want you. And there is no longer anything we can do to prevent that. They're brutal people when they want something. You've read history enough to know the sort of techniques they use to extract information. We don't want that for you. Mr. Traeger especially doesn't want that for you. He wants to smuggle you out of the country. He's willing to risk his job, his life if need be, to do that. I've come to help make it possible. The problem is that we'll be committing a crime against the French government. We could end up in jail. We could end up in a worse situation than you're in now. I have to be sure that you're not some sort of agent before we help you. I have to be sure you don't have any contacts that could get us all into trouble. I have to be sure if we get you out that you won't come back somehow. I have to know, James. Did you take the documents?
No.
Do you have the documents? You should turn them over to me. We'll make sure that way they don't fall into the wrong hands.
I don't have the documents.
Where did you put them?
I haven't put them anyplace.
Yes, you have. Tell me where the documents are.
I don't know, man.
Where are they? You have the documents. Tell me where the documents are. We're going to sit right here until you tell me where the documents are. Where are they?
I don't know where.
Oh, yes, you do. Where are the documents? Tell me where the documents are. Where are they, James? Tell us where the documents are.
I didn't take.
Your mother is ill. We know that. We know you're making her worse. She's going to die because of what you did. Because you won't help us. Your mother's death will be your responsibility. You're killing your mother. Killing your mother. You think you're going crazy. We've done that to you intentionally. It's terrible, isn't it, James? The way you feel right now is a nightmare. A terrible nightmare which will never end if you don't help us. We can make it permanent. We can fix it so you'll feel the same way you do now for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. We will make it permanent if you don't tell us where the documents are. You don't want to be like this for the rest of your life, do you, James? You don't want to be crazy for the rest of your life.
I understand my rights.
What is your rank?
I cannot disclose my rank other than I am a special agent.
This is the fifth agent that has refused to answer that question.
It will be noted for the record.
After the old mill, the Army held James in France. They had all those confessions he'd signed to stop the interrogations, but they'd never found the documents. The Army decided after several months to conduct a hearing to see if James should be court-martialed.
Do you recall an occasion in late April when you, Thornwell, and Agent Carson were all in the same office as the French CIC?
Anything related to the French is an operational matter, and I cannot discuss it further.
It was only a few months ago. Certainly you can recall the French police saying they'd get Thornwell and he'd be sorry.
I can make no statements concerning the French police. It is an operational matter.
Did the French police ever interview a woman in your office?
I invoke my early statement. Anything having to do with the French police is an operational matter.
Do you remember telling Thornwell that the blood of this woman would be on his hands?
Anything involving the French police is an operational matter.
Do you remember Thornwell being taken from the Region 3 office to the old mill in early June?
I'm sorry, but any reference to the old mill is an operational matter, and it cannot be discussed.
When he left the Region 3 office, was he blindfolded?
I don't know.
Was he handcuffed?
I don't know.
What did you see happen to Thornwell after he left the Region 3 office?
I cannot answer any questions relating to that incident. It is an operational matter involving the security of the United States.
You know what they're doing, James. They're stonewalling. It's their word against yours. You know what your word is worth in a circumstance like this?
They're lying.
I can't prove it.
They're lying.
If you could tell me more, give me details, names, places, dates, I could do something.
I told you about the old mill. I didn't remember that at first. Maybe I'll remember more.
James, you barely remember going there. It's not enough. It was June, a few months ago. You have to be able to remember more.
I remember Traeger being there. I remember this smell. Terrible smell. Well, what's going to happen to me?
This is a pre-trial hearing. They'll either drop it when we're done here, or they'll court-martial you.
What?
For stealing those documents.
I didn't take them.
They have a signed confession.
They haven't got any evidence. They haven't got a single bit of evidence to support the charges. You know why I signed all those confessions. They're worthless.
They have a body of opinion. The opinion of a group of white officers presenting a signed confession and a very narrow view of what happened to you. The court wants to, they'll go along with that body of opinion. Do you recall challenging Thornwell to fight you?
I never challenged Thornwell to fight me at any time.
Specifically, that you asked other agents to leave the room and thereafter did challenge Thornwell to fight you?
On that occasion, I was threatened by Thornwell.
How did he threaten you?
By his gestures and actions.
Well, you didn't threaten him.
No.
He threatened you.
Yes.
Do you recall awakening Thornwell between the hours of 5 and 6 one morning while he was in protective custody?
I do recall such an incident, and I do not feel at liberty to discuss this further. Consider it an operational matter.
This was the beginning of a 24-hour grilling period of Thornwell by CIC agents.
I cannot answer that question because it's an operational matter.
He was grilled by all agents in your unit and agents working in Paris for 2-hour periods.
This is an operational matter.
After 2 agents completed their stint, they were replaced by 2 other agents.
I determined that an operational matter.
This interrogation continued over a period of several days.
It's an operational matter.
Was Thornwell either physically maltreated or under any duress during the time he was in protective custody?
In my opinion, to my knowledge, no, sir.
Do you recall Thornwell being placed under protective custody?
Yes,
Why?
at his request.
Are you positive that Thornwell requested to be placed under protective custody?
I'm positive only that he signed a statement requesting to be placed in protective custody.
What does protective custody consist of?
As far as I'm concerned, it's to ensure that no harm came to Thornwell.
You were responsible for him while he was in protective custody.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you about the old mill.
That's an operational matter. Can't be discussed.
What date was the old mill riot?
8 carried over to 9 June, but that's the limit of my discussion of that interview.
What type of physical force was used on Thornwell out at the old mill?
As far as I'm concerned, there was no physical force used against Thornwell.
Is information being withheld to enhance the position of the Counterintelligence Corps?
No, sir.
Is it being withheld to protect the position of the CIC?
No, sir.
Hello, this is James Thornwell. Is Harvey in? Oh, where did he go? Well, when we come back. Well, did the mail come? Well, why is it late today? Well, did Harvey call the post office? No. Well, when did you say he'd be back? Tell him that I called. Just tell him, yes.
When James's marriage broke up in Miami, he moved to California. He tried many jobs. He was a galvanizer. He sold perfume. He raised money for a mission. He was a stock clerk. He was never able to work for more than a few months at a time. He tried many times to go back to school. He married again and had a son. He and his second wife split up. James's son became the most important thing in his life.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Good? How good?
Good.
You're the goodest that there is. Kick. That's good, you see?
His psychologist, Dr. Paul S.D. Berg, says that prior to the Army, James did not suffer from any mental disease or defect. That he was a young man who was highly motivated, an above-average student who wanted very much to succeed. That he went into the Army believing that the experience would help him realize his goals. Dr. Berg depicts James today as a man who's missing things: memories, interests, ambition, enthusiasm, feelings. He sees James as a man whose mental tapes have been erased. Dr. Berg isn't sure any of these things can be restored to him.
You don't think I'm crazy, do you? I'm supposed to be finding out some information today. Maybe tomorrow. Pretty soon. See, there was this old mill. Glad you don't think that I'm crazy. That's good.
Your lawyer's been calling. He said your papers came. He said you should come right away.
It's all in there, James. That day they took you to the old mill, they gave you a drug. A special purpose Army team came in and tested it on you. Well, it was LSD. Oh, they called it EA 1729, but it was nothing more than LSD. And they put it in a glass of water. Took you to the old mill. They tried to break you. They tried to destroy you. Well, they wanted what they wanted. They didn't care what happened to you. On December 5th, 1980, the United States Congress awarded James Thornwell $625,000 as compensation for what the Army did to him. Today, he is in the process of trying to rebuild his life.